Just put you on that chair there.
Dodge. Okay.
Okay, just going to mic you up.
Perfect.
Strap under your t-shirt.
Up under my t-shirt.
Take one.
Well, it's a couple of weeks after the event now, actually, but the memories are still extremely vivid, and I've only just recovered, quite frankly. And it was one of the most positive, life-affirming experiences I have ever had. So this beautiful, crystal clear morning, we had our destination, we could see our destination 2.4 miles away. We had the swimmers lined up in the water. We had the kayakers all lined up supporting us, ready to go. And it was a lovely moment, just this moment of stillness before this epic event started. And then John White, who's an inspiration to so many, triple amputee, now world-class athlete in his kayak, who's one of the supporting kayakers for the event, just said very quietly, ladies and gentlemen, good luck, crack on. The swim takes place across this vast bay. You know you're doing 2.4 miles. Every time you put your head up, you can see your destination. And it's quite intimidating. It's a wide horizon and a big sea. But all around us, we had the kayakers. And it was quite a symbolic moment for me, really, because they were looking out for us. And that's what this whole event is all about. We want to look out for our veteran community and their dependents. Every stage, every stroke that you took, you'd look up and there'd be a Marine, or there'd be a Special Forces person, or there'd be a friend, member of the core family, just kayaking alongside you, just keeping an eye on you, saying, "No, you're all right," which is quite symbolic. But it was during the swim that we realized that something a bit special was happening, because one of the athletes exited the water in 48 minutes. He did a 2.4 mile sea swim in 48 minutes. And we realized that at the front, something pretty unique was happening that doesn't apply to normal human beings. And that was the eventual winner of the race. That's Will Tyrrell Moore.
It's a really emotional moment for me, for 25 years of planning this, and to see them doing this and swimming here today, which was our primary swimming route from Blackpool Sands to Slapton. It's just really turned out perfect. The conditions are perfect. These young guns, one of them came out the water in 48 minutes, which is elite professional Ironman level.
Race HQ was the hub of the whole thing. It was the beating heart of the whole event. And for me, it epitomized the spirit of the event, because it was full of volunteers. You had Royal Marines mountain leaders, you had Royal Marines physiotherapists, you had Royal Marines physical training instructors, a massive amount of experience. The thing about this bike course, it never lets up, never gives you a moment's rest. It never takes its eye off you. It's always hammering you at every stage. And the elevation gain of the 112-mile bike route is the equivalent of going from sea level to the summit of Ben Nevis twice during the course of 112 miles. You're also cycling through some of the most beautiful terrain, I think, in the world. You're cycling along the Devon coastline. So you have the sea to your left, you have cliffs, you have extraordinary wildlife, but pretty much everything is like that. So as you gurn your way up the hill and your thighs scream and your heart hammers and every dial is in the red and the pistons are thundering away, all the while you're thinking to yourself, I've got a mountain marathon still to come. When I get off this bike, I've got a mountain marathon. And so we set off along the coast path, and what the coast path entails is steep climbs. You can't run it, you have to walk sections of it. Steep climbs, uneven terrain, on wobbly legs where you're dehydrated and you've already been on your pins for 10 hours, 12 hours by the time you start the marathon. But at every stage, there were people there cheering you on. There were people refueling you physically and psychologically to say, right, just get to the next stage. So when I came staggering through Race HQ, I was in a bit of a state, actually. I didn't really know, I could feel that sort of slight trippy sensation. I could feel that I wasn't operating properly. I could feel that potentially my whole race was going to fall apart. They got round me straight away. All those decades of experience, 350 years of experience operating in really tough environments. That's the Royal Marines. That's the Royal Marines for you. So Paul, who's a mountain leader, straight away, he could see it in my eyes. He gripped me, he got me the right gear, he got me hydrated. Sean, who's the physical training instructor there, he could see again that I was in a spot of bother. And it was wonderful to see all of that support kick in and think, right, we've got to get this boy over the last 6 miles. Now, something happened at the finish many hours earlier. So while the rest of us were all having epics out on the course, Will Tyrrell Moore, who won the entire event, he won the event by 5 hours. He finished the event in a time of 11.5 hours. And when he got to the end, when he got to the finish, there was no one there. We didn't have a marshal there, we didn't have a steward there. So he basically just finished outside the Bayards Cove Inn in Dartmouth and just sort of went like that. And someone took a photo of him, his girlfriend was there and clapped him in, and then he wandered off. There it is, that's the number. If you want to have a go next year, that's the time to beat. Can you beat 11.5 hours? As I ran the last section, everyone just peeled away so I could finish the last bit on my own. But I didn't finish that last bit on my own. I was supported by my family. I was supported by the Royal Marines wider community. I was supported by every single person that had volunteered to help out during the course of this event. And yeah, it's a sweet moment to finish, to have that first sip of that first pint at the end of what we think is now one of the great adventure races on earth. Why do it? Why do an event like this? Obviously, anything that takes you physically and psychologically to the limits like this is hugely life-affirming, and you know it's a great thing to do. But there's a bigger agenda. Our veterans, many of our veterans, fight battles every day. They fought battles for us in the past to keep us safe, but those battles continue. They continue for them, and they continue for their dependents. And it's wonderfully significant that this event, every swim stroke, every turn of the pedals, every step that is taken on that course raises money to continue to support our veterans, which is something I think we should be doing for decades to come. We should be supporting them for the rest of their lives. And that is what the Royal Marines Iron Challenge is all about. Thank you to all the volunteers. Thank you for everyone for putting this together. Thank you for that extraordinary group of athletes and adventurers who came down to be pioneers on this route and give it a good old go. And thank you to everyone who's donated. The other thing I want to say is come down and give it a go. You will not regret it. It is one of the great challenges. So the Royal Marines Iron Challenge hasn't gone away. There's going to be another one next year, so come down, join us, and crack on. There is one last thing. Right, Felix, Lewis, in you come. Right. This is Felix Northover, and this is Lewis Jeffries, the two young filmmakers who filmed this whole thing. They've done the entire thing gratis, so more money can be raised for the charity. Use him and use him for all your filming. They are absolutely outstanding. Lovely. Good.